Okay, good afternoon, folks. So I'm back up by the goat hotspot, and what I was going to do is just walk the area that I had previously set up and just try to see if I can make any adjustments. For example, if I go walking out here and I discover that there's a lot of fecal matter, a lot of droppings, then maybe I need to move them a day sooner, even though they're not eating the grass down entirely. The grass is really long right now, and they're kind of cutting in and eating the undergrowth of that longer grass. But I'm gonna take a walk out here and just see. I want to see if the chicken's scratched. I want to see, if the where they're eating on the plant, are they eating down too low? Just things like that. So let's take a walk out there. So it won't show up on camera, but right away I can see where they had droppings and whatnot. So there's this long spindly stuff, and they ate the tops off of it, but they didn't eat the long straw piece itself. Any of the grass, it looks like they topped it. So they're not eating it down too short. That's a good thing. I don't see an overabundance of them defecating all over the place and it being too much for this area. So it looks good. It looks how you would think it would look after some animals have been on it. What I think I might do, just to even it out, since they don't like this really tall stuff, maybe cut it at about a foot and just take the tops off of all this and dress it up a little bit. It'll it'll help it push out some more grass. But it looks good. Looks real good. You can tell where it starts to get short because it changes color. But it looks good. So I got a little bit of work I'm going to do in the other field, but before I go over there, um, I wanted to talk about what we're doing with this and why it's so important. For us to have animals, it's safe to say we need to have grass to feed them on, grass and browsing areas, not just grass, but weeds, thickets, brambles, a bit of everything, tree branches. Um, but it all goes back to the soil ultimately. Whether you're trying to grow grass and brambles for goats, or you're trying to grow vegetables, or you're just trying to grow wildflower pasture, um, the land needs to be stimulated to get the most out of it. So by them going over the top and grazing it and trampling things down and disturbing that top layer, they're helping create soil. As they eat, they defecate and they leave their droppings all over the place. That'll break down into organic matter and help build soil. And as they eat the plants down, the plant has a reaction underground where its roots die off a little bit, and that turns into organic matter. Well, it is organic matter, but it becomes a makeup of the soil, you know. And then the top part grows, and the roots continue to grow. And as you chop them up here, a little bit gets chopped on the bottom as well. And as you do that, you're continually building up the soil. The roots are continually penetrating the soil and keeping it loose versus something that's packed tight. So it's a regenerative process that just keeps going and keeps going. If we were to leave this pasture alone, it would most likely be taken over by weeds at first because it's so devoid of proper nutrients. Nothing's really established. We don't have a particular grass that's really established. There's areas with some really nice fescue and stuff that are real thick, but most of these grasses, I don't think I could tell you what they are. I know we seeded with ryegrass before, so there might be some of that in here, but the goats and the chickens are going to help us bring this pasture back to life. If you know the history of the channel, this used to be a horse farm, and the pasture that the goats are in was the horse pasture, and part of the horse pasture was a riding pen. So you can imagine the riding pen was hard pan clay, completely devoid of any plant life, just completely trampled and packed down. And that's probably our greatest challenge, is fixing that part of the pasture. But the pasture as a whole was way overgrazed. It never was allowed to get to any length. The horses were on it nonstop, and it really did a disservice because there's a lot of areas that have no topsoil left. Quite frankly, where I'm standing right now, if you're, well, I'll show you what the hell. I'll show you, look down. It's completely devoid of any grass or anything. And that's how most of the pasture was. Um, so we got to rebuild that. We got to rejuvenate that. And that's what we're looking for, with the goats and the chickens out here moving them around. But I have to do some maintenance type stuff. I got to pick up some stones over by the septic area, and I had put them out to define myself where the septic was, so I didn't get complacent and accidentally drive over it with a truck or something like that. But the stones have proven to be very problematic with mowing. I can't really get around them the way I thought I would. So I think I'm just going to scoop them all up and move them to a pile and see how I like that. So let's go over and get that started. So that's what we're looking at. Um, Everywhere you see the tall grass, there's a big stone. So I'm going to just push them across over to this area. That way I only have one part of the pasture bogged down with stuff, if that makes any sense. that's our victim right there. I got quite a bit of it. And I'll just start at one spot, probably right here in front of me. There's a corner of it that's really bad. I'll start right there and just work my way around, filling in the deep spots, and then we'll see how much I got left. And if I got enough left, I'll probably top dress the whole thing just to make it all one level, nice and flat.
You make me move. You got it all inside of you. Feel it to be true. And when you dance, I'm in the groove. You make me move. You make me move. You got it all inside of you. Feel it to be true. And when you dance, I'm in the groove. You make me move. You make me move. You got it all inside of you. Feel it to be true. And when you dance, I'm in the groove. You make me move. You make me move.
Bit of a chore for this little John Deere, but I don't really have any use for that pile of dirt over there. And when you cross it like this way, it's like going across the washboard. So do I need to do it? No. But I need to get rid of that dirt, yes. So I'll just come up here and keep picking at it. I got a pretty good chunk of that pile moved, but I don't want to kill myself. So like I said, I'll do it. It'd be nice if it rained and softened up a little bit, but then it gets mucky and muddy. So I'm probably better off dealing with it as it is, hard. It's hard to dig into. For my little tractor, I don't have any teeth on the bucket, so it's just a flat edge. So it doesn't break into the pile very easily, but it will move the whole thing, and I'll get it done. And I think just by how much I've used and how much I got left, I think I'll have enough to cover the whole thing with a nice layer and get rid of some of that washboard effect and try to dome it up a little bit in the middle if I can. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching with me, folks. Have a great evening.
You make